Hello and welcome to week one of database design and administration. I am Professor Stevic, Brother Stevic, Don, whatever you want to call me. I'm here and I will be your guide through this wonderful world of databases. So it's just me here tonight. That usually happens on the first week. I don't know about you guys, but this week caught me off guard. I wasn't ready for it to start. The semester just ended, and I didn't know that like the next week this one started. It was kind of fast. So I don't know if it's me or if it's just everything's going faster, but here we are. It's week one. In previous classes, I met on Wednesday nights, but I'm going to try Tuesday nights this semester. I think a lot of students last semester wanted to try a Tuesday night. We'll see how it works. The purpose of these Tuesday night meetings is for me to give you guys information as we would if we were in a classroom setting, which we're not, unfortunately. I'm here in Orlando, Florida, and you're wherever you are. And so we want to make sure that I have contact with you to answer your questions, to give you that time, in-person time, so that you might be able to have the opportunity to ask questions and give me a chance to explain things to you. The conversations we have are generally about the topic. Sometimes I'll go off topic, do a deep dive into some aspect of database systems that don't necessarily show up on here, on the test or on the class. This is my opportunity just to give you guys information on how databases work. Not necessarily on what the class wants you to know. We'll always talk about that. I'll always give you what the class wants to know. But all right. So let's talk about, let me share my screen out here. And then let's talk about how this class works. Okay, share my screen. All right. So, oh, okay. I lost everything. Here we are. Okay, here we are. Let's go over to here. So when you go over to the modules, you're going to see the same thing in week one. You'll see something you will never see before. You'll never see again. And in week two, you'll see something you never see again. And then after that, everything you'll see every week. So you'll always have a syllabus quiz. And that's just basically, no, sorry, you only have this one time. You'll only have the syllabus quiz the one time. And you'll only have the icebreaker the first time. I saw a number of you filled that out. I'll go through that. It's a little place to introduce yourself, so we get to know you a little bit better. Everyone gets to know you a little better. And then those are the two that are only week one. Okay. The ones that you'll see every week are this preparation and reading. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to look at that. Exercises, quizzes, and papers. Helping each other devotional. The discussion boards are there. I'm going to be honest with you. This is I think my 7th year teaching, 6th or 7th year teaching. I stopped using the discussion boards because no one ever used them. It is with every other way to talk to people, Discord, Messenger, FaceTime, there's 10,000 other ways for people to talk to each other, and the message boards, just no one uses them. So I don't really monitor them. I go there, look from time to time. I get notified if there are messages there. If you post there, odds are I'm not going to see it. But the last 2 or 3 years, it's been outside of the icebreaker, no one posts there. Okay. So let's look at what the preparation and reading generally looks like. So in the preparation and reading, that'll tell you what the goal is for that week, what the objectives are, what the reading assignments are, and what your tasks are. So I want to look at the reading assignments first. So here it says your book is called Learning SQL. And everyone should have access to it. Now, if you don't have access to it, please look at announcement in week one. it tells you how to get access to it. If you've read the announcements, like I hope you have, you'll know that my take on the book is it's a great reference book. It is not a page turner. It is not Harry Potter. It is not a great fiction book that you sit down and you enjoy reading. This is a, hey Marville. Did I say that right?
Yeah, it's right.
Okay. So I was just going through my spiel on what I do my first week. So just if you have any questions, you're the first person here. So I'm just going over like what to expect in the class, how to navigate the assignments, and all the other good stuff. So right now I'm talking about the preparation and reading part.
Yeah,
Hmm?
I have a question.
Sure.
I was installing the Sakila database.
Yeah.
It doesn't work in my SQL
What do you mean it doesn't work?
workbench. It says like I don't have the control. It's like I don't have permission to have it to install it in my local host.
There was a part of this to, so if you go here, did you watch the video tutorial on how to download and install the Sakila database?
Yeah, I saw it.
Did you?
Watch it.
So basically when you installed it, you didn't give yourself permission to create a database. So something happened on your installation page here. You're installing on a Windows-based system or an Apple?
Windows.
Okay, good. That's good. And you went through all these steps to install it?
Yeah, I did it. I did all.
Can you share your screen and show me the error you're getting?
Yeah. Mm. And I have
Did you share your screen?
no, can you give me the permission to share my
You have permission.
to share my screen?
You have permission to share your screen. Oh, I've got to stop sharing mine. Sorry,
Yeah.
I forgot. I'm used to Teams where you can just take over. Stop sharing. There you go. All right. Hey, Corey.
Okay.
I'm just jumping in to say hi. It's good to see you, Brother Stavik.
Good to see you too, sir.
So thank you so much for what you do, and I look forward to this awesome semester.
It's going to be a good semester, I think.
I agree. I look forward to it. Thank you.
Cool.
I'll let you guys go. I don't have any questions. I just want to stop by.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Okay, let me see. Let me open up your workbench.
Yeah. When I open my Sakila schema,
You don't have a database. You don't have it installed right yet. There's no. If you look at yeah, you're missing. Okay, so you don't have the schemas here. So hang on a second.
okay.
Yeah, you're supposed to. So where it says under Navigator, you should have this. I don't think this is installed correctly. Because you don't have let me see. Maximize your window here. Maximize the workbench.
Sorry.
Maximize the workbench, please.
Okay.
Okay. No, you minimized it. There you go. Click the box in the middle. There you go. Go to File. Go to New Query tab. Click on Schemas. Down over, see, click there, yep, okay. It says that you're not connected.
Mm.
So you're not connected to your, click that. Click that, yeah, we're going to DMBS, click on that, click okay.
That's the arrow.
Yeah, this was, this was installed incorrectly. You're going to have to reinstall it.
Okay, I'm going to reinstall it again.
Yeah, I would uninstall it, reboot. Okay, and then make sure you exactly follow the instructions on the, let me share my screen again here. So make sure that you follow these instructions, like make sure that you download the correct thing. Make sure that you choose full install, because you're missing pieces there, because you should, basically what it's saying is you installed the workbench, but you didn't install the database system.
Okay.
So the
Yeah.
workbench is just like the front end that connects to the back end, which is the database system. So you must have missed a step somewhere in there. So you have to go back and because here's the part, this part here where it says configuration. This is where you're setting up the database system.
Okay,
And make sure,
understood.
yeah, make sure that's right. Go ahead and try that, and then you got to set the root password. You get to this part, so you should hit every one of these.
Okay, I'm going to restart it.
Okay, let me know how it goes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Bye bye. Okay, so back to what I was talking about here. Okay, so as you just saw, that you got to make sure that you installed it correctly. Follow the steps exactly as they are. MySQL is easy to install, but it's a bit unforgiving if you don't do it exactly right. Okay, so on the preparation and reading part, you'll have learning objectives. We're going to talk a little bit about this tonight. What these are, your reading assignments, and like I said before, the book isn't necessarily a page turner. It's not something you want to read for fun. It's a great reference book. It's got an index in the back. If you need to find something, go ahead and look it up. The PowerPoint slides that we have every week and these web pages are really more important than the book, because these are where you're going to get your information from, because these are all live and changed on a as needed to basis, as updates are there and changes are made. If you follow the textbook, as we get into week 8 or 9, there are things that they talk about that don't exist in MySQL, and it's true, they used to not exist 5 years ago, but they do now. So make sure you go through the PowerPoint slides and make sure you look at these these tutorials and these web pages. They have a ton of information on them. Okay. Okay. So the next one on your modules here is the exercises. The exercises here, if we look at these, okay. This is the exercises. These are just questions, and did you do what you do? Later on in the course, they ask you to write code. And here's a very, very poorly kept secret. For weeks 2 through 10, if you can't figure out how to write the code, look in the back of your book. Everything is there. It's like when you were in high school and your algebra book had the answer to the odd number questions in the back of the book, and your teacher said go look at them to reverse engineer your answer, so you can figure out what you're doing. Same thing's true as here. So so your exercises are not always going to be like questions like this, like yes or no, yes or no. They will be like write code to do this and write code to do that. Okay. After that, you've got the quiz, and the quiz is just like any other quiz. It's just asking you questions. A database system is nothing more than a set of related information. SQL, status statements, manipulate data. A hierarchical database system configures data in a single parent hierarchy. All these answers are in your links and in your book. The quizzes are, you get to take them twice. You get two times to take them. They are open everything. They're open book, open notes, open internet, open buddy who took this last month, open anything. So this is the information age. This is an online class. We don't pretend to don't think that you guys looking for the answer somewhere. That's totally fine with us. Just find the answer, okay? And you get 2 shots to do it. The final exam, let's jump on that real quick. The final exam for this course is a culmination of the quizzes in a larger test, and same deal, open book 2 times to pass, so on and so forth. The last thing here is the papers. Now, the papers are an interesting thing. We're asking you to write a 3 to 5 paragraph paper, a report based on the case study presented to you. So in this case, you've got the case study here. You have joined a new company, and while you thought you were prepared, your manager believes you have a lot to learn. He has structured a 12-week training program that should enable you to learn how to use the MySQL database and solve computer engineer problems. The 12-week is this class, surprise. Your manager has explained to you your ability to work with and solve problems at the command line will directly correlate with your future contributions to the company. Your manager has also said those limited integration developments, IDEs, like MySQL Workbench, contribute less to the company. In your first week at the company, your manager wants to understand the difference between non-relational and relational databases and how relational databases evolved from a networked and hierarchical databases. Your manager also wants you to install a MySQL database on your desktop, create a database from the assigned learning, SQL textbooks, and populate the model. You should return a 3 to 5 page report that clearly explains why using MySQL command shell line presents advantages and translates productivity. Okay. So during the course of this class, you're going to find that my opinions differ than what these are. The CLI is a great tool. It's very handy. It's very show-offy. Week 1 in this class is the only time that you will use the CLI. After this, there's no reason to ever use it again. It gives you wonderful granular control over things. It is a command line interface, so it is just a command prompt to type what you want in. But please, for the exercise in this class and for everything past week 1, please, for your own sanity, use the IDE or SQL Workbench, or what I call a GUI, a graphical user interface. But so back to the paper. So the paper is every week you need to write a 3 to 5 paragraph synopsis of what you learned that week. Usually I don't go in and manipulate these because so let me put this out there. I didn't write this course. This course was written for me. I teach the course as written for the most part. I make changes here and there to customize it to my teaching style and to the way I want, what I think is important for you guys to learn. I have never gone in and messed with these and changed them to something else. I might do that this semester because I think I need to shake things up a little bit with this class. 3 to 5 paragraphs, that's not 3 to 5 sentences. I'm not a huge stickler on it. If you get the information to me that it's asking for in a way that I can understand, I'm not going to, lose my mind that it's not 3 to 5 paragraphs. If it's like 2 sentences and doesn't explain a whole lot of anything, it's not going to fly. I like to see code examples when there are questions about coding to see that you know what you're talking about. This more so than the quizzes is you're showing me that you understand the context of the lessons from this week. That being said, in this class, there is also a final project you can do in lieu of the final exam. I'm talking more about that next week and the week after. But I'm going to just talk about it real briefly here. If you choose to do hey Samuel, how you doing?
Hey, pretty good. How about you?
Good. I'm just in my big intro to class. I'm just going through what the papers are.
Sounds good.
Feel follow along. Tell me if you have any questions.
I will.
So just saying that, so the papers are 3 to 5 paragraphs explaining the case study. The case studies are really cut and dry. Just what did you learn this week? I might change them this week for this year for a couple of them. But saying there's a final project in this class. So you have a choice. You can do a final project or a final exam. You don't do both, you do one or the other. The final project is your opportunity to design a database from scratch on your own for fun. And you may not believe me now, but designing databases are fun. I love doing it. It's a hobby. It's sad for me that it's a hobby, but I do enjoy it. It's kind of fun to watch the flow of data and how the tables grow. If you choose to do the final project, starting in week 3, that's when it begins, when I go over in detail what the final project is. If you choose to do the final project starting in week 3, your papers become more of journal entries to me on how your progress on the final project is going. You don't answer the questions that are here. You tell me how your project is going. So like week 3's paper might be, hey, Professor Stevic, Brother Stevic, Don, whatever you choose to call me. I've been looking at, I think I'm going to do a database based on gardening. I just haven't figured out what that is yet. You know, that's fine. It doesn't have to be 3 to 5 paragraphs. It's just communicating with me what your intent is for the project. I'm going to sidebar real quick about communication. Communication to me is incredibly important. So I really try to make this class as real world as I can. Meaning the more you communicate with me, the easier life becomes for all of us. If you've read my announcements for this week, and I think I told them, if you want to pass this class, read this, because no one's ever read them in the past, and I like when people read my announcements. You'll see that I accept late work, but there's 2 very specific criteria to me accepting late work. I understand that things happen. I've yet to have a semester where someone hasn't had a child born, someone hasn't lost a family member. We had a pandemic one year. That was fun. Because we're online, the classes kept going. People have COVID since 2020. At least one student gets COVID during the course. I don't know where you're getting it from because this is an online class, but COVID happens. People get sick. It's cool. I accept late work up to week 10. After week 10, I no longer accept late work. But you got to let me know it's going to be late. You got to drop me an email, text me, whatever, saying, hey, Brother Stevic, I'm not feeling well this week. I'm in this last semester, I had the first counselor in the stake presidency was in my class. And he had a couple of things he had to do. I get that. That's cool. You got to do what you got to do, man. If you're in young men or young women's activities, you're busy too. I get that. Just let me know. Shoot me an email saying, hey, I work with the young men on Wednesday nights. It's hard for me with my assignment time. Can I get a couple extra days? I'll never say no. Right. But again, I will only accept late work up to week 10. That means if you turn in week 11's assignments late, I will not accept them. Okay, so you got 10 weeks to figure out your cadence here. All right. That covers all that. So let's talk a little bit about the class and what we do here. So over here in the preparation, we talked about what you're going to be learning in this class. So let's talk about that real quick. Here we are. Here, there we are. Boom. Okay. So first thing we learn about the relational model databases. So a database can be anything. A piece of paper can be a database. A database is anything that holds data. Okay. Excel spreadsheets are databases. Access is a database. documents or databases. Anything that holds data is a database. But Excel, pieces of paper, books, whatever else, they're called non-relational databases because they don't talk to anything else. Now, technically, we can get into with Excel spreadsheets, we can have different spreadsheets talk to each other. So we kind of get into a relational database because we have it kind of getting into a third dimension, right? But for the most part, these are non-relational databases. A relational database is this. So what you see here is a table structure where all the tables talk to each other and they all hold information that complements to each other, so we don't have to have it all in one place. Okay. So back a million years ago, I'm an avid comic book collector. I used to have thousands and thousands of comic books, and I used to have an Excel spreadsheet that cataloged my comic books. And on that Excel spreadsheet, I had everything about that comic. I had title, distributor, blah, 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 everything. It was like 45 different columns of information in that spreadsheet. The problem with that is it's not what we call normalized. Okay. When we're looking at a table structure like this in a relational database model, the table should only contain information specific to the topic of that table. Okay. So for example, here, I've got this one that I built. So during the course of the semester on Tuesday nights, I'll build a database and we'll just go through it because half the time we'll talk about the class and half the time we'll talk about database design. And I'll come up with the topic and I'll design a database based off of that to help you guys, inspire you guys to your final project. So here I've got a table called spacecraft. Okay, and also notice that none of these, I got to change this because it's about to make me a liar. Table names are not pluralized. Table names are always in the singular. It's astronaut, not astronauts. It's spacecraft, not spacecrafts. Okay. So here I've got a table. I've got a spacecraft table, a destination table, a location launch table, a class table, an astronaut table, a missions astronaut table, and a missions table. And these are normalized because the spacecraft have a destination. All the spacecrafts are going to go somewhere, right? But would we have that piece of information in the actual table for spacecraft? That becomes a bit of a problem because one spacecraft will have many destinations. So we might have a spacecraft that goes to the moon, that one goes to Mars, one that just orbits the Earth, one that does a quick once around the sun. So they'll all have different, one spacecraft might have multiple destinations. One destination would be gone to by multiple spacecrafts. So when you're looking at relationships between tables, that's what we call a many-to-many relationship. Okay, and we can't have in spacecraft, we can't have like destination 1, destination 2, destination 3, destination 4, destination 5, because where does it stop, right? So we'll get into that much more later, but this is just kind of to get your idea of how this works, how databases flow, and it's like it does flow. If you look at these are like little rivers that take the data where it needs to go. Okay. So that's what a relational database is. A relational database is a series of tables that contain data that complement all the other tables. The whole table is unique to that table itself, but when that information is shared, gives a bigger picture to the database itself. Okay. I have an astronaut table. I have a missions table. I have this little table here that joins the two of them because one astronaut goes on many missions and one mission has many astronauts on it. So I've got to have this little table in the middle here. Okay. But we'll go deeper into this. Any questions on this, Samuel? You following along?
Yep.
Okay.
I took CIT 111, so.
Oh, good. Okay. So this is
makes sense.
so this isn't foreign to you.
Yeah.
If anyone does watch this, I always have a problem. People don't really watch the videos, even if I put them there. So I think what I'm gonna start doing, I did this like one semester a while back. I would somewhere during the course of the video, I'd give a random word, and that random word was on the quiz. So I might go back to doing that. It's very likely I'm gonna go back to that. And Sammy, you're the only right now, you're the only person who knows I'm gonna do that. So you're the only person who's actually
Yeah.
passed the quizzes. All right, I'm not gonna do it this week because that wouldn't be fair. But next week, wait for it. Next week, I'm just gonna do a random word. And it'll be somewhere, it'll have to be an announcement or in a quiz, but it'll also be on the test. Okay. Anyway, okay, back over to here. So that's what a relational database is. So what is structured query language? Structured query language is how we talk to the database. There are many, it's a programming language. It's absolutely a programming language. It's up there, it's like Java, it's like C#, C++, VB Basic, VB.NET, Virtual Basic. What else is out there? Lua, COBOL, Fortran, for the old schoolers out there. So it's just a programming language. The thing I like about SQL, structured query language, is that it's the closest thing to English that you're going to find in a programming language. So we've got two major areas of code. We've got what's called DML and what's called DDL. I'm gonna drop down to DDL first. DDL stands for data definition language. These are the commands that you issue to create the database, to create the connections between the database, to create the tables, to create the rows and the columns, okay? This is the construction. This is building the building, right? Create. And again, these are words that you know what they mean. Create means to create something, alter means to change something, and drop something means it gets rid of it. So we can create databases, we can alter databases, and we can drop databases. We can create tables, alter tables, and drop tables. Okay, that's what this is. It's data definition language. It's creating the physical structure of the database. DML, or data manipulation language, is what we do inside the database. It's how we insert the data, change the data, delete the data, and select the data. There are 5 basic commands. Select, which means go get the data. Update, which means go change the data. Insert, which means go put in the data. Delete, which means delete the data. And truncate. Delete and truncate have the same end result, but approach differently. We'll go into this deeper later, but for right now, if you have a table with 1,000 rows in it, and you say delete from that table, delete everything from that table using the delete command, it will delete each row one at a time. So it'll go 1,000 times, delete row 1, delete row 2, delete row 3, blah, 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 until they're all gone. If you truncate it, it's like flushing it down the toilet. It's just all gone at once, okay? And there's a reason for that and why I do. We'll talk about in week 4 or 5. We'll talk about what the difference is. It's one of those things that's not really talked about in this class, but I go into detail on it because I think it's interesting. Oh, one quick thing. While I'm thinking about it. So every week we'll go over different parts of code. We'll talk about it. You will be learning code from week 2 to week 11. By week 7, I will have covered all the code you need to learn, plus some, through week 11. Okay, because I don't teach it in terms of how the book teaches it. I teach it in terms of how things go together. How things naturally go together. It makes more sense that way, and then you guys will know it by week 7. Okay. The MySQL database management system, that is a 5-hour conversation on how that works. We'll talk about it over the course of the semester. We'll talk about how the data is stored on the disk, how it's partitioned, how all that works. But that's a long conversation. How to create a MySQL database. Here you go, ready? You run that, it creates a database. That's all you got to do. It's that simple. As I said, but I think I talked before you got here on Samuel. There's something called the command line interface. It kind of looks like this. This is where you type in all your commands and do all your stuff. Like I said 10 minutes ago, this is very show-offy. This is if you, when I became a DBA, when I first became a DBA, I would do all my work in this window here. And it was because I thought it looked cool. I thought it looked pretty cool to write a code here. B, no one else knew what I was doing. And it looked really awesome for me to sit there, write code and write code and write code. But then as I got older and lazier, I realized this is very show-offy. And the thing is, if I'm over here in my database, in my Sakilla database, and I need to write an insert statement for the actor table, it does it for me. So why would I write it out if it does it for me? We obviously have to put the data in and clean this up a little bit, but I mean, let's be honest. We want to be as efficient as we can. And the command prompt, this isn't terribly efficient. It is incredibly granular. But here's the thing. Everything you can do here, you can do here. There isn't a whole lot you can't do here. So that kind of goes against like the doctrine of the class, but the whole purpose of week one is to let you know how great the CLI is, and then for you never to use it again. Yeah, honestly, if you ever get into a job and you're using the CLI, contact me because I want to know the job. Because I've worked for several different companies with several different platforms. No one ever does this. Unless they're showing off. Which I've done. All right. This part here we're gonna talk about later because this is another 3-hour conversation. Okay. So this pretty much covers what I wanted to cover tonight. This week is pretty easy. It's just installing MySQL, getting the database created, looking over some notes and stuff like that. Next week's class, we're going to talk about this more next week too. There is something called reverse engineer a website. Please do not panic when you see this. It is not that big a deal. So, all of you may be familiar with something called Proctoro. Okay. It is a horrible, evil thing. It is actually malware for your computer. What is it? I can't even say it anymore.
Proctorio, yeah.
Proctorio, yeah, Proctorio. So it used to be that when you guys, once a semester, you guys would have to take a quiz via Proctorio, log in, they'd watch you take the quiz, there'd always be problems. So what we did in this class is on week 2, you guys send me a video presentation, reverse engineering a website, and telling me how the database works. Now, a couple of things about that. Number 1, we do this so I get to see your faces. And I like, oh, that's Samuel. He took the class. He didn't hire Bob from accounting to take class for him. I saw him on week 2. I know it was him. So it keeps our honesty, it keeps our accreditation going, right? So this one assignment in week 2 stops us from having to do a Proctorio exam on week 6. Number 2, I also realized this is week 2 of database administration design, and y'all probably have no idea what I mean by reverse engineering a website. So next week, on next Tuesday, I will go through it with you and I'll show you what I mean. But basically all it means is going to a website and preferably something like this, right? and then telling me what you think the database behind it looks like. What do you think the tables look like? What you think's in the tables? How you think they work? It's really very, very simple. It's not technical. You don't have to give me any diagrams. It's all just completely, you talk me through it. Don't use the church website. Don't use familysearch.com. Don't use Amazon or eBay, because those are incredibly complicated databases that you're just going to spin your wheels on. Find something simple, maybe Etsy, maybe a local gaming site, maybe your local library, something like that. Funny story. So every year, every semester I teach this class, I say, don't use familysearch.com or familysearch.org. Last semester, there was a gentleman in our class who was a DBA for familysearch.org. So I said, you, sir, are the only person in the history of teaching this class that can actually use familysearch.org for your reverse engineer, because you've been there. So that's all the next week is. 3 to 5 minute video. Here's a website. Here's how I think the database works. And that's it. That's easy. Next week's easy. I think that covers everything for the first week. I covered the basics over here. I talked about DML versus DDL. I talked about the relational language, what a relational database is. I showed you. Oh, this is called an ERD, by the way, an entity relationship diagram, an ERD. I will use the acronym ERD many times between now and week 14. Okay. Sammy's the only person. Do you have any questions?
I don't think so. I'll probably watch the beginning from the recording, so at least you have one viewer.
Yeah. Well, what usually happens is week one person shows up because everyone's. I started the video when I talked about the start of the video. I didn't realize the semester started so soon. The previous semester just ended last week, and like,
Yeah.
okay, there's like a week off between that. That was sudden to me. So maybe people didn't realize there was a class this week, which is fine.
Yeah.
We'll get about 5 or 6 people.
I showed up late because I have my kids to put to bed, so
That's fine.
I'm
No,
sorry about that.
where are you?
I'm in Utah. I'm in
Okay,
Utah.
yeah, I'm in Florida.
Yeah.
So, and we'll have people from. I haven't had a semester where I haven't had at least 2 people in Africa, someone in South America. I had one guy in Ukraine last semester.
Mhm.
I have people all over the place. It's real interesting being a worldwide church and a worldwide college. There are people everywhere, which is pretty awesome. But it does make it difficult to find a time to meet for everybody. So I know 9:30 my time is 7:30 your time.
Yep.
So I try to be as flexible as I can. Anywho, okay. So next week we're gonna start talking about some code. I'm gonna start showing you some code. We're gonna talk about the reverse engineering the website and how not to panic about that. And if you have any questions during the week, if you're watching this video, starting next week, in that video or somewhere in an announcement or in a video next week, I'm going to put a secret word, and that's got to be, it's going to be in the quiz. You have to tell me what that secret word is, or you don't, or you're not going to pass that quiz just because I can do that. And it's not going to be at the beginning; it's going to be somewhere in the middle. I'm going to stop what I'm doing and say, okay, it's pork chop, and then everyone's going to have to figure it out from there. So anyway, cool beans. Thanks for up, Samuel.
Thank you,
And
brother Stavik.
you're welcome. Anyone watching, good night, and I'll see you tomorrow. See you next week.
Bye.
Bye, guys.